Wasabi guys, welcome back to another Commander Pickups video. Again, if you appreciate these, or any video I do, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be following a theme. We're going all Commander Legends cards. This is of course from the 2020 set in preparation for the Battle for Baldur's Gate. The reason why I chose to make this video all about the Commander Legends cards, it's because there are a lot of gems that are still pretty undervalued. And almost all of these, with the exception of one of them, is under $3. And that's the point of these. I want to recommend low-risk cards that are still going to offer you some playability in Commander, but there should also be a long-term upside, where I actually believe that all of these cards could go up in the future. So let's start it off here with number 1, which isn't technically an original Commander Legends card, but it is a reprint from the same set, Staff of Domination. At around $2.40, you have a pretty interesting mana sink. If you have never played with it before, it's been around for a long time, going back to 5th Dawn. It's been seen in tandem with commanders like Marisol the Pretender, and I think we have potential to see the return of a commander where the focus is on activated abilities like with Marisol. So being under $3, I think even being under $5, Staff of Domination, even though it's been reprinted a couple times now, it's still a great investment. It has the ability to untap itself, which is very rare with a lot of tap ability artifacts. It basically means that if you're playing in the late game and you have absolutely nothing to do, you could use this to draw a card, you could untap it. If you have plenty of mana, you could keep drawing cards and untapping it. And of course, that means with any kind of infinite mana combo, you pretty much just win the game. Next up, we have Ferexian Triniform. Now, this is a pretty heavy hitter. A mythic rare golem, a 9/9, that evokes the likeness of Wurmcoil Engine, which I will agree is still probably a much better card, but I like the potential here long term. For only $1.85, you have a pretty interesting artifact creature, with also an ability that is still unique to this specific set in Encore. That Encore cost at 12 mana is a bit inconvenient, but you get the power and toughness out of this creature. I think that's what it has going for it. I think when designing this card, they thought it was going to be something closer to Wurmcoil Engine. Turned out not to be the case. You don't have good keywords here. You don't have any at all, but you do get the power and toughness. You do get the bodies when it dies. You get 3/3/3s. That is substantial. And a lot of this is going to be speculation. I don't think there's anything right now that can really abuse Ferexian Triniform to the point where I would say it is a $5 or $10 card, but I am confident that we will in the future see a commander option that will adopt Ferexian Triniform and make it a good card. I mean, it is a good card, it's just really expensive. I think that's the big downside here. And next up, we have Keeper of the Accord. This was a head scratcher for me because I always thought this was a bit more expensive, but at $2.17, I am the most confident about this card right here. I think for what it does, the fact that it triggers at the beginning of each opponent's end step, it's a balancing type of white card. White doesn't typically do card advantage that well or mana ramp that well, so if you're able to catch up to your opponents, which is what Keeper of the Accord allows you to do, your time playing mono white is going to be a lot easier. I also like the potential for soldier decks because you do get 1/1 white soldiers, so that is something that we could see in the future. There is some potential there. It's in that same category of land tax where you're getting these planes because someone else has more lands. So not only is it great right now in a lot of white decks for that reason, but at $2 I think it could potentially go up, and Commander Legends is filled with a lot of cards like these where they're proven to be good in Commander and they're still dirt cheap. Next up, we have Mnemonic Deluge. There are the other 4 massive 9 mana sorceries. There's one in each color, and I don't really like the other ones nearly as much as I like Mnemonic Deluge, because at $1.03, you have scary explosive play potential. You can exile any instant or sorcery card from a graveyard. It could be your opponent's, it could be yours. I like to compare this to Rite of Replication because it's not far off from what you're paying to have a similar explosive play. This time it's for instants and sorceries. So if you like Rite of Replication, all the crazy plays you can have, you're paying pretty much the same amount of mana, but to copy an instant or sorcery 3 times. I think this could be dangerous if you're playing mill. There are a lot of mill spells that will take a huge chunk out of someone's deck if you copy it 3 times. You multiply that by 3, you could very well end someone's game. This is the kind of card that is meant to be played in the late game for maximum effect. I think it's a step ahead of Ferexian Triniform, to be honest, where Ferexian Triniform doesn't yet have the strategy to really be taken advantage of. I think we've already seen the decks that can abuse Mnemonic Deluge. It's more of just people not playing it as much. So this is another low-risk card for only $1. You have the potential to straight up win games. Next up, we have Court of Ambition. There are the other court cards, I was a bigger fan of playing the Pillow Fort strategy with Queen Marchesa when she first came out as a commander. And to me, playing Pillow Fort, it's all about keeping your opponents at bay while also hurting them, so this will make you the Monarch, and at the beginning of your upkeep, they will at least lose 3 life unless they discard a card. If you happen to be the Monarch, they instead lose 6 life unless they discard 2 cards. So as you can see, if you maintain the Monarchy, you'll be able to put them on a clock. If they're not losing life, they're losing card advantage. That to me is very much like Painful Quandary. This has the benefit of giving you more card draw with Monarch, so that's why I believe this is a good pickup. It's only $1.19, and speculating we could receive more Monarch support. So there's a whole lot of room for synergy here, and that's what I like in cards. That's what I like in cards that I recommend. This is good right now, but it could be a lot stronger if we have the strategy to take advantage of it. Next up, we have Crook the Thumbless. This is going to be the first of 3 red cards, by the way. When I think of Commander Legends, I think of the partner commander options like these, where it's all about thinking outside of the box. And with the coin flip strategy, it's very unconventional. And at only 64 cents, again, there's a lot of room for synergy. I don't think we're even close to seeing the end of coin flips. So if we ever return to that strategy, if we ever get more support for coin flipping, you know that Crook's stock is going to go up. I think it's still a good card right now, even if you don't have Crook's thumb to abuse the coin flipping. You still have a 50-50 chance of copying a spell, or it returns to your hand. And in a lot of the decks that you're going to want it in, you're playing a lot of instants and sorceries every turn anyway. So you either double your output or you get stuffed. Only being a 2-mana creature, I think a lot of you are sleeping on it. Next up, we have Wheel of Misfortune. Talking about sleeping on cards, this is a huge one. Granted, it's not as surefire a thing as the original Wheel of Fortune, but Wheel of Misfortune does add a bit of a chaotic twist. The players who want to choose the lowest number will not be able to discard and draw 7. The player who chose the largest number will have to be dealt that much damage in addition to discarding and drawing 7. This does mean that it's not exactly what you would want in a Nekusar the Mindraiser deck, but that's only if you view Wheel of Fortune cards being valuable in that specific strategy. There are of course other ways that you could take advantage of Wheel of Misfortune if you're playing something like Niv Mizzet, where the focus is more about you drawing cards and not your opponents. If they don't want to get rid of their hand, they don't have to, they can choose 0. This is still only 3 mana, and I need to bring that up because a lot of wheel cards, whenever they brought back the Wheel of Fortune wording and new spells, they always made the card more expensive. They made it like 5 or 6 mana. Here you can discard and draw 7 for only 3. At only $1.84, I think this has scary potential. Anytime you can refill your hand for this little mana, I'm telling you, there will be a commander that will take advantage of this. And next up, we have Hellkite Courser, another red card, and this one, again, is flying under the radar, even though it's the most expensive card in this video at $3.29. I think what it does is very underappreciated. It enters the battlefield, and you get to put a commander you own from the command zone onto the battlefield. It gains haste, and then you return it to the command zone at the beginning of the next end step. So not only are you bypassing a commander cost, and therefore also getting around the commander tax if you don't want to pay it, but by giving it haste until end of turn, you are enabling strategies that maybe have more expensive commanders. So if you have a commander option like the Dragon, this is also a dragon, so it would fit in pretty well. You can cheat it into play, give it haste, and so when it attacks, you'll be able to draw a bunch of cards and then put a dragon into play. Using something like a Conjurer's Closet, you could also abuse its Enter the Battlefield ability, so that you'll be able to bring your commander out there if it also has a good ETB. There's just a lot to like here. You get a good stat creature. It's another mythic, and that's the thing about the set. You have a lot of good mythic cards that are well under $5, and they have a lot of room to grow. Next up, we have Kodama of the East Tree. At $2.75 here, we have another partner commander option. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, if it wasn't put onto the battlefield with this ability, you may put a permanent card with equal or lesser converted mana cost from your hand onto the battlefield. Now, there are already a bunch of combos involving Kodama of the East Tree. Using something like Tireless Tracker and a Bounce Land, you can generate infinite clue tokens. And while some of the combos that you can pull off with Kodama of the East Tree are already pretty interesting, I don't think we've quite seen the most out of this creature yet. That's the case for, again, you've noticed me say this, a lot of the cards in this set have yet to really be taken advantage of. So if you believe we're ever going to see more partners, believe that commander options like Crook the Thumbless and Kodama of the East Tree are going to see more play as a result. And the last card is yet another commander option, but it's the cheapest card in this entire video at 28 cents. Lysa Shroud of Dusk offers you a pretty cool entry if you're looking to play on a budget. It's not always the deciding factor, but a lot of budget decks can only really be built with an expensive commander. I think Lysa Shroud of Dusk can offer you a pretty strong strategy while also being incredibly cheap. It's also a very unique commander for the format, being really one of the only ones where you get to bypass the commander tax by paying life instead. So an option that is focused on forcing life loss that also has lifelink herself. So all you have to do with her is build your deck entirely around life gain, and everyone is equally going to lose 2 life for each spell they cast. To me, that's always been insane. I understand it is a linear strategy, but I think this is probably the most powerful commander to come out of Commander Legends. And to see it at only 28 cents, it is mind-blowing. So anyway, let me know what you think about these 10 commander pickups, all from Commander Legends. Let me know if there are any that you think are also pretty good pickups from the set. Also, let me know what you think of the upcoming Battle for Baldur's Gate Commander Legends set. Commander Void here, I will see you all next time.